it's not quite there. I know if I go to bed now, I'd just be lying awake for an hour, staring at the ceiling like Maya Miller. So I figured, okay, better now. Better now than tomorrow morning. Nobody's gonna be around. 9 a.m. Good luck with that. 9 a.m. on a fucking Saturday. None of my besties are gonna be around. I had a great day. I worked for a whole hour, which is annoying because it's like you still gotta get in a mindset. But at least it was over fast. I think fuck it was because it's very repetitive for me at this stage to work. Um, oh, it's complaining time. Yeah, I guess so. Hmm. But actually, I was just glad it was over. That's what I was building up to. Just glad it was over because it's just I go on autopilot. I tune out as much as I can. Just ramble about. I teach, right? So I know what's in the book already, and there's nothing new there I can say. Nothing really to deviate from too much with because it would just distract. I go on a rant. I try to if there's place for it, but if there's not, then it's just the same story. And after that, I've just been enjoying existing because existing is fun, according to some people, and that's what I tried. This morning I tried to stream. It didn't quite feel organic. This morning was also just one of those times where I was up too late and I started rambling about one thing or another, and there was no one around. So after an hour of rambling, I was like, let's archive this. Maybe I'll continue after I'm back, but then I couldn't be going back online. What else? I hung up a picture frame. That's always an event. I think that's always a happening when I'm hanging up something onto the wall. Because I enjoy that every fucking day. I'm just so accomplished when it happens. It's always a pain. Always a mess and a pain. Because what goes in the back? How can I fit it? And um, how big does the hole need to be for so first I need to pick a nail or a screw, and then it's going to plug, and the plug needs to, and then I need to pick a hole for the drill size. Fucking hell, too much for fucking for something that's this big, right? Right over there, it's this big. I think it took 40 minutes to get all the stuff together. Like I don't do this regularly, so to really piece it all together, try different methods. At first, I'm hoping, maybe I don't need a drill. Maybe I don't need to cause a fuss and a ruckus and just push it in the wall. Part of it worked, then halfway through, hit a brick or something, hit stone. Hmm. But it's still fun now. It's actually up, and so far, so good. I'm very happy about that. Oh, hey again. Is it a more suitable time for you today? I would assume so, right? This is a good time for most people, especially Friday night, weekend, and everything. For me, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like I knew this is a good time for my club, for my gang. So I'm glad that you guys showed up. You're gonna have to keep me awake, artificially awake. So there's two kinds of energy for me. There seems to be an energy bar for emotional energy and then actual the brain energy. And if there's no one around, and the brain energy is maybe high, like in the mornings, but the emotional energy is low. And now my emotional energy is high, but my brain energy is kind of on the low side. So I don't know for which one is worse. At least I can be fucked with exhaling, because actually when I'm just talking and I have very little emotional energy, it becomes very flat, and it feels like I'm barely feeling like exhaling air while I speak. There's not a lot of volume to it. I just cannot afford it. I cannot spare the volume. I cannot spare the oxygen. um, but it's something that will even out because I have been feeling better overall. This week in particular, I think was a bit of a turning point in some ways. And a turning point does not mean like I switch 180 degrees in my mood, but it's been. I think I've been past a certain. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna do just that. I actually had to get up to turn on my heater. I'm fucking melting here. Caffeine is still kicking in, and I want to take another caffeine in half an hour, so I may still be good for a bit. Oh, fuck yeah. Very good for me, by the way. I've been lying around a lot. For all my talk about how I'm recovering, it just means I'm feeling better. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily that much more active. And by recovering, I don't mean like from drug addiction, but from a long episode of being sort of depressed, maybe not like downright depressed, but just feeling powerless in a way, which is ironic because I'm a god, as you know. That's all the more reason for me to want to feel in control. But now it's spring. The house hasn't smelled of shit that much. If it did, it's very temporary. Stuff like that. You were going to be like, how? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I felt powerless about my life circumstances, I guess, my situation a bit. I felt very fucked with. Again, and if you've been watching for a while, you know I had made a big move. My parents made a big move. I got sort of like got dragged along. I had a say in some of the specifics, but the overall plan was not really something I would have signed up for normally, because it's a lot of change, and change comes with a lot of fuss. And it doesn't matter for me really where I live as long as the house is good. Because I'm not leaving much. I'm not leaving that much. But it still fucked a bit with me, so. Especially since the house was not that good. First. But yeah, there were a lot of factors related to family and living situation and the house, especially, were just very stressful. And even when the things became less pressing, I could not really get over my coping mechanic to do. Just go in like cocoon mode, like a wobble dog goes into a cocoon. I'm still in that fucking cocoon on the ceiling. I'm just starting to break free. But I'm making some progress. At least there's been a turning point. At least I couldn't even. Like, I knew that if I'm gonna start trying to break free from that pattern, it was gonna take a lot. And if you force it too soon, it's gonna backfire. You're in a rut, and you know you have to get this turning point at some point. You have to plan it. You do it too soon, you're gonna get discouraged because it doesn't work out. you're gonna feel worse for it. At least that's the way I feel it. I feel like there's such a certain duration that you need to just suck it up before you're gonna try and bounce back. And I guess that's what I did. And this week, now my body has to catch up. My body has to catch up, and my concentration needs to catch up. Going back from coping to actually trying to work on myself and do more things. It's a miracle. It's amazing I've been able to stream and stuff at all. And obviously my energy wasn't always that great. May still sometimes dip a little bit, but at least it's one thing I kept up. It's one thing I was able to keep doing. Probably the only thing I really was able to keep doing. Everything else was just daily slog. Let's get some water here. Let's get some water in, guys. Mental health stream. Yay. I knew I was gonna rant about this because, I was going very hard on Lil Simsy, who is a so-called game changer for EA. Because there was a video that was dropped about her that kind of brought her back in my head. Is now back living in my head. Not for long, but I'm gonna throw her out. But let's suffice it to say I don't really like her. But to put it mildly, I don't like her. I don't like any kind of shill or person that appears to be fake or the wrong, just fake. But this was something about this person that she puts out the content that now one of the criticisms that was leveled against her was that she seems so lackluster and burned out because she's always playing the same game, namely the game that she sold her soul for to sell DLC of. So I am always so self-aware that I can't even bash someone that all but in name works for EA, has made a career out of just defending EA. And even then, I'm still like, what about me? I'm also put out content. The context is completely different from what I do, but I'm also a little burned out sometimes. I'm also not always bringing my A game because I can't. So I was criticizing myself for that, and then I was thinking about maybe I should tell my viewers sometime about how I've been feeling, how I was feeling bad. In case people missed out on that. I wasn't feeling great. Before I started streaming, but there have definitely been more downs in the winter. So at least they know. Before they're also gonna judge me like I judged Little Simsy for being so lackluster with the videos, despite making fucking good money. She's such a sellout though, Like in her case, it's not because she is sometimes streaming to one person or a lurker or nobody, or she doesn't have to live on her own, or she's just she has enough going for her. It's just because she sold her game, she sold her soul to play a promoted game that she doesn't even like. So it's on her. This is 100% on her. And still initially, whenever I criticize someone, I always try to see But is this fair criticism or am I doing the same? And only then I start to think like, what is the difference actually? Because it feels like there's a difference, and there is. There is more self-inflicted jadedness, and the jadedness just stems from streaming for money and churning out content for money. And the more the better. Like even though she has enough to do something she likes doing, maybe find something else to play that she might like better. Even if it loses her some viewers, she's comfortable financially. Let me see how many fucking followers she has. She has her sponsorship with some fucking salads that their company. Oh, she plays Stardew Valley. Okay, I guess that's where we all end up now, huh? She has played Stardew Valley too. She's trying to diversify on Twitch at least. Well, good for her. The only advice I could give her other than stop existing, stop existing and annoying me. In my stop existing in my perceivable world. It's not to say that she should kill herself. Just saying stop existing in my world. Right. My only reasonable humane advice was to be like stick to Twitch and diversify your content because this shit is stale and you lack the creativity to turn a boring game like The Sims 4 into compelling content, and you don't care to do it either, you just care to milk it like EA itself. Guys, I'm a streamer, my rants do not have to be coherent, do not have to make sense, just a disclaimer. I've watched enough streamers to know. Is it just me, by the way? Or is it very common you tune into a streamer and they just are on a rant, they're on about something. Like, what are they on about? I actually know. Half the time you just lose the focus or you do something else. You have no idea what they're talking about. And some streamers, I don't even know that well to know their social context or background, don't know anything. And yet I just leave it on. I'm like, oh, interesting, interesting. I don't know what they're on about, but sounds interesting. Or I guess is their point sort of this? $4,000 of DLC later. Are you still talking about Lil Simsy? Yeah, she sure sold that. See, that's why I talked about this uh, exact point. I talked about this exact point extensively. So, Gigi's Neck of the Woods made this whole video about her, and that's kind of what brought Lil Simsy back on the radar. She's getting a lot of comments. I'm living for that comment section. I've been reading it all day, and I've been responding to people all day. Because I'm a dramatic hoe, and I like what Gigi, the pot that she has stirred, or the cages that she has rattled. And the panties that she got in a bunch. I've been reading that comment section of the simps coming out. The Simsy simps coming out. Or the people that are like, no, I don't like her either, but you're being very harsh. Like, who cares? On one hand, I'm like, yeah, she sounded very harsh. On the other hand, I'm like, let's play devil's advocate, and because fuck off. This is nothing compared to what I would say, and that I have said probably. I mean, it's petty. It's not the things I would focus on. But I like that someone even goes against her, or it speaks out against the bullshit. It's not even going against her person. It's just going against the bullshit of this elevated content creator. I'm seeing a lot of hearts. Well, anyway, my reasons to keep up with this drama and get invested in it are a little intricate. I try. Let's not go into over analysis about that. It's just I'd be here all night talking about it. But the point that someone was making, a lot of people I saw make the point. But why just well, why would you go after another content creator like? Why would you bully her? Well, me talking all night about it. Well, if I want to play a game and it's easy for me to be like Lil Simsy and just entertain the fans that I have. Sometimes I just want to see like maybe I can also force myself a bit to attract people or something like that. I don't know. Something in my back of my head is like I need to sometimes try a little harder because I know I love ranting and I love raving, but I also think like yeah, but there are more people that may want to see me play a game and joke about it rather than be negative, be mean. Even though I'm really optimistic when I'm negative, I'm very alive when I'm negative. I'm so positive about being negative. Such a positive presence. Oh yeah, but the talking in general is usually ranting and talking shit, right? Talking, spilling the tea. So well, there was a line of comments saying, "Why are you going targeting Gigi?" Who made this sort of analytical video, bit critical video, bit harsh, but fair enough. Honestly, in some ways, the overall narrative was that she just doesn't put effort in her content. And normally, I would also be like, "Who cares? If you don't like it, you don't watch it." But in this case, I felt it was very warranted because she is there. She is where she is thanks to EA's because she's part of EA's propaganda machine. Because she helps sell thousands of dollars of DLC to her impressionable teenage audience. Um, she is where she is because she um, forces herself to play this sort of lackluster game with a lackluster attitude, and not because she actually tries to improve herself or her content. Another person, not saying me, but plenty of other content creators, they bring it. They have to bring it. They have to fight nail and tooth for maybe a couple of thousand of views at most. I'm not even in that bracket, but I'm also not fighting nail and tooth when it comes to YouTube. Fuck no. But she's there just because she gets all the privileges thrown into her lap for ass kissing. So no, she is not harmless. People, that whole game changer program is cancer. And I don't like to use that word. I actually do like to use the word. Use the London Dutch. Let me put it like that. I'll try not to use that word too much. So it still has impact when I do use it. It is super um, shady. It's dodgy. It's like these people are, like I pointed out in the comment section, Lil Simsy and those that like her kiss enough ass to get early access to packs and get invited to events, and they get free content that is a really, really good publicity. and they get to have she had their builds in the game. She works for EA, period. She makes more money off her sponsorship from EA than the people that work for EA making their in salary. Even though she is officially not on the payroll, she profits from it more than the people that actually work for EA. And yet, some people in the comments still think it's fine to criticize EA, but not her. Because she is not working for EA or she's not EA. Hell, she is not just working for EA, she is the marketing department. She is the fucking worst aspect of it. She defends it, she dismisses the community. She is there in it for herself. She's in a mutualistic relationship with EA at the cost of the game and the consumer. So, no, she is not above criticism of all people, and the criticism could have been a lot harder. Over, it wasn't even about her attitude, it was just that her content was. She was indifferent about playing a game. She puts out video after video. She churns it out like Sims 4 kids, ironically. And it's not too hard to make a connection like, oh, she just milks the Sims 4 just like EA does it. So I've been like, digging into the comment section and being like, no, maybe these points seem petty to you, but this bitch is not above criticism. She's not just a harmless random content creator. She is where she is because she's a shill. She's a sellout. She's a grifter. And it's obvious she's impassionate about the very game that she's trying to promote. And she's playing that game because her career depends on it and her ties to EA depend on it. And I think she's also like the most popular one or the one with the most followers and everything. Then you tune into her. I checked out her stream just before. I normally cannot stand watching her. I just checked it out a little bit. I'm like, okay. At least she plays some other games on Twitch. That's good. Don't know why she still has a YouTube channel because her content feels like VODs, and I think that sort of thing is good for if you have like a. It's just weird. She plays the YouTube game with the thumbnails and like the videos are 10 to 20 minutes long, like edited down. But at the same time, it's still so dry and boring that it feels like she's just doing a VOD or something. And because she lacks that creativity and she plays that game, that one game that requires a lot of creativity because it has nothing going for it by itself, I just think that the content is so weird. It's just not the formula for the content of her YouTube videos is weird. Because if you make a YouTube video, you'd expect of that length, you expect something interesting, something that's very edited down. You'd expect something different all the time. You don't expect the same legacy challenge or the same house being built. Now that sort of thing I can see in a stream. Because in a stream, sometimes what you're doing as a creator is more of a context for talking about stuff that may not even be about the game or talking with your community. There's more to the stream than just what you're playing. But when you're putting out a YouTube video and it's not just like a VOD, maybe I'm kind of saying it. Let's say I have the clips channel, right? If I upload a clip, I don't get around to that anymore that much, but if I did upload a clip, it was highly curated, it was short, it was concise, it was something memorable. It was something weird and memorable that I said or did. Or like a moment that I really liked. And I thought, like, that is worthy of having a YouTube video for. not this weird mix of like it is a VOD, but it's too short to be an actual VOD. So it's like, and I think she actually recorded it outside of a stream, like actually recorded this, and then calls this content for you. It's just like, what is the formula is weird, and you just get the impression like no one on YouTube would succeed with that sort of content, quote unquote, if they weren't backed by EA and got like early access. Because that is huge. Do not underestimate that. That is a huge perk. If EA says you are loyal to us, you get the packs 3 days early or a day early, even. That is hundreds of thousands of views. Because people that are playing The Sims, they often are obsessed with that game. They are only want to see content about that game, and they want to see it first. They have nothing else going for them, honestly. If you're actually a fan of The Sims 4 and you're only a fan of The Sims 4, like an hour early, just an hour? No, it's a day early, right? Are you kidding me? I have seen them even stream. I've seen them even play content and record it. No, it's not an hour exactly. I've even seen them record content like a week early, and then they were maybe not allowed to release the footage until a little bit in advance before the actual release, but they already had their content and everything recorded. Oh, they definitely are ahead of the game. Definitely. And even if it was just an hour, you'd still be worth something. Not as much, obviously, as a day or a week, or like I think it's something like 1 or 2, 3 days early, and sometimes it's even earlier that they got to play a preview during an event and record it. Something like that. And also get their builds featured, gets shout outs on the official Twitter from the Sims team. I mean, there's a lot going on there. She had a viral video, like not a viral video, she had a trending video on the YouTube front page that seems to have been paid for, but most likely by EA. Gigi went into a lot of detail about why that is very likely, and she made a convincing case for that. So I'm just saying it's weird content. It's that sort of person is like she wouldn't have gotten the light of day. She wouldn't have gotten any kind of spotlight if she had to make it on her own without the backing of a big company. And just kind of disturbing. It's fair to call someone like that out because YouTube and Twitch and stuff used to be those sort of platforms used to be for individual content creators that are operating by themselves largely. At least that was the idea. It was like, okay, everyone gets the same, it's a level playing field. It doesn't feel like that now. It doesn't feel like the playing field is level at all. It's not saying that there's absolutely no way to succeed on these platforms, but you really have to have a lot more luck and bring it if you don't have some kind of fucking partnership with a big company like she does. That is fairly unique, honestly. And they will fucking get your video on the trending page and give you content that is completely that no one else has, not because you are so creative, not because you are so original that you stand out, but just because you get a fucking pack earlier than everyone else. And I mean, she's just one example of this sort of thing. I'm sure it happens with reviewers sometimes, or I mean, there are, I guess, journalists in general that are good at suck kissing ass may also in general get games and stuff early for free to review and make content about. Um, it's a bit of a Gamergate thing without the whole uh, iffiness of that to it, I guess. But I'm sure it happens. I'm sure EA is not unique in doing this, and I'm sure she's not unique in doing this. But that doesn't mean that we're not allowed to criticize those content creators. Because to me, they're not content creators. They are basically marketeers for a big part. But if on the side of that, they actually give something back for all their privileges and exposure, they actually have something to show for it. They give some entertainment and effort back. Then I'm also like, maybe the exposure is well deserved, and so what if someone helped them? But that's not the case for some people. It's not the case for her, so that's why. And look at me fucking streaming 92 hours as a second job here. I got paid for the first time after 3 months. And I haven't even had to. And that's like $55 or something. They actually took a fee for paying me. Fucking Twitch to have the gall to take a $5 fee to pay me. Fucking clowns. Sure not to fucking rip you off. They already took 50% of everything. 50% of this, 50% of the ads, 50% of the revenue in general. They charge a 50% extra for the bits, I think. But God forbid they pay me and have to actually pay me out of their own pocket. Just throw your Prime subs on me because just throw them. Got a Prime? Throw it at me. Because that way, that's the only way you take money from them. And they have to pay that to me. Money they already made. Money they already earned. And they have to actually also use to give you other privileges. They will be forced to also give some of that money to me. Exactly as they deserve. They're on Twitch. The only way to get even with them the only way. 5 more minutes and I'm gonna have a second coffee. Was this very negative? I always try to be like authentic when I have my opinions about something without hurting people's feelings unnecessarily. Like, if Lil Sims, you were in my chat and she knew me and she was like, I wouldn't say this because I'm like, okay, you're here as a viewer, as a person. She's not gonna be here because she feels too good for everyone. She doesn't know me either. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm just saying, Stell, for example, completely hypothetically, I would not say this. Zach, does that mean you just only talk shit up behind people's back? If it's punching up, sometimes it's good because it's cathartic to say something because you don't really want to say it to a person, but you still have to get it out of the system. I guess that is a thing. But that's another rant. I need to give that more thought. I haven't put much thought into that. I'm a bit too chaotic to think about it. But Usually, my anger comes from a place of feeling like people are scummy in some way, as in dodgy, deceptive. Just get irritated. Something about people being fake enthusiastic, uh, or pretending that they care about other people, or pretending that just I think in her case it's just that she is her reviews and such are usually very pro EA and very much like hyping up people insincerely. The lack of sincerity to it and the lack of transparency and openness. I cannot stand it. Manipulation I don't like. I think something about that I've seen it. I like yesterday I was going off about RuPaul, who I think is incredibly manipulative a lot on the show, and not in a way that I find cute at all. Not like he can be a little bit manipulative, but it doesn't have to always have to be that harmful. Probably. I'm just saying I haven't really thought about this that deeply. This is another rant for another time again. But forcing storylines at the cost of people's mental well-being and trying to gaslight them about who they are and how important you are for their storyline, that sort of thing needs to quit. Needs to quit. That needs to be shut down already. You've been doing that ever since Tammy Brown in season one. I'm very much on team excuse your mouth when it comes to her. So like people that are manipulative in some way. So yesterday I had RuPaul and Little Simpson is a very different character, but she's also manipulative of her audience, of people's opinions in a way that is not in a sincere way, but in a way that is like personally for personal gain. She is on Team Little Sims. She's not on the team of the community. She's not for the community. She's not there for the consumer. She's on Team Little Simpsy, which means she is on Team EA because that's her bread and butter. And RuPaul is not on the team of the contestants. RuPaul is on the team of uh, whatever gets the ratings up and gets an Emmy. Paul is on the team of keep filming, guys. You see those tears after I talked about her dead mother and dead sister? Keep filming, guys. That team. So I guess there's a trend now because I've had two rants in a row now since yesterday and today. Fake fucking manipulative bitches. I cannot suffer. This makes me grasp my hunk and pray for my soul that they won't get me. I mean, it's hard. It's not the most positive content though. Um, and sometimes I worry. I think about the stream. I shouldn't have so much sense of responsibility because ultimately it's not my job, right? Like I said, it's not. I have don't have like a community of 2,000 people watching me to feel responsible for. The people that watch me, they know me. They know me. In depth, I don't know, but they can talk to me. I'm approachable. I'm not on that level of preaching from the stage, and yet I still sometimes feel a little bit like overthinking it. Maybe uh, is my negativity that I consider to be authentic. I mean, let's wait. Is my negativity maybe bad or for people? Maybe entertaining, maybe even intriguing and addictive. Is it bad? That's something I think about. This. I don't know. I don't know. It's something I actually wonder about myself. Sometimes I like to um, look up criticism, critical things, and read critical posts. But there is also a limit to how much of that I want before it becomes too much. So I guess there's an answer that it's good to have. It's good to be open to criticism. I think it's important not to be toxic positive, toxically positive, forcefully positive, because then you're balling things up and you're not going to be a sincere person. But I guess sometimes it's also just important to shelf that uh, honesty and focus on something else that you can be more, can also be honest about, but in a positive way. I hope that makes sense. That's what I've been. That's sort of thing I'm trying to figure out here. It's clear that my brand will never quite be pure wholesomeness and coziness because I just like talking shit too much. I live for that a little. I feel like I live a little bit, but I can only do it for. I personally, even though I live for it, you could say I can only deal with drama for that much. So, but everyone has their own tolerance level for it, and some people don't want to deal with negativity at all. At which point I say those people are fucking flaky, and they need to get up. They need to face reality at least sometimes, and you can better do it in a way that is enjoyable and just like um, you're in control of it, right? This sort of internet drama that's about a person I ramble away about. You're actually in control of it, so it's not that bad for you. It's not bad for you. It can be good, and it stimulates critical thinking. It's engaging. You feel something, but it's also safe. It's not like going to directly affect you. So I think I think it's pretty okay to allow some negativity in a controlled sort of situation where it actually doesn't really matter. You could engage with it and you can disengage with it. Might be healthy. It's it's purely like getting a bit of young energy out of your system in a controlled environment rather than because um, you're in a horrible personal conflict with someone and you can't let go. You're just always angry about that. That is not enjoyable negativity. That is toxic negativity, and I think there's also such a thing as a sort of healthy negativity that people should allow. But how much is healthy for a person that may vary, and in some cases, like I say, well, I think everyone should at least be allowed to. Everyone should dabble in it. Everyone should dabble a bit in negativity. This whole thing, like everything's gonna be positive and optimistic, it doesn't fucking work. It's gonna snap. It's just gonna be toxic in a different way by judging people too harshly that are expressing their feelings. Some people are expressing their genuine negative feelings about something. They're critical of someone like Little Simpson. And you come in with your toxic fucking positivity and be like, Oh, your voice is annoying too. That's so. Oh, you're so pressed, aren't you? You so pressed, aren't you? Like that. Those kind of people. Like, do you really think you're such a positive influence there, bitch? You just come in here and bitch about something you don't like. You get to basically the only way to be really positive is like to be always positive, like be a fucking hypocrite. It's just more like you're self unaware about your negativity, and then it's not controlled, and it's not stimulating your critical thinking either because you're just stupid and self unaware. You think you're positive, but you don't even know what you're doing. So yeah, again, bit of negativity is good. Dabble in it now and then. It's good for you. Go sip that tea. I need to stretch. Can someone give me a stretch? Cannot possibly stretch without someone spending channel points on it. Anyway, in the end, how do I do this with the stream? How do I balance it? I hope that like an hour-long rant or something like that is good enough. It's not too long because it's gonna be an hour usually. I think after an hour, that's when I'm done. And I'm checking the clock now. It's been 50 minutes. I feel that's good. It's close enough. That's good. I'm done. Time to just, I feel relieved. Time for happy, happy, joy, joy stuff. I told you I'd shoot, but you wouldn't believe me. But first, let's have a quick. Uh, oh! Oh, I've got some stats for you in a moment on my dashboard. First, let's run a quick ad and I'll play a song for those who are not for those who are subscribed. And I'm gonna get a second coffee. After that, I'll play a game as well. God's willing. God's willing. Depends. If someone comes in and we have a whole conversation about something interesting, the game might be off, might be blown off for the night. Like there, I may not be able to resist certain topics. Maybe I need a little bit more tea. After all. So here's the ad rolling right now for those who are lost. Those poor lost souls. I haven't even really opened any music yet.